Hey, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Taz from Take It Outside. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, welcome back. If you're returning, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. I really do appreciate your support. Real quick, I've still got my giveaway going on of the Icon 52-piece set right here. Completely free to you, no purchase necessary. All you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe. You're entered in. 300 subscribers is the goal. Once we reach that, I'll be doing a drawing. I'll be getting in contact with you. I'll be shipping it out to you completely free. Nothing you have to pay for. So, jumping right into today's video, we're going to be heading down to the range, alright? So, I've still got the Canik Radian Prime, and that red dot needs to be sighted in, alright? That red dot claims that it's sighted in from factory, and it was not. So, we're going to be sighting that in. Hopefully it doesn't take too terribly long. I've got it bore sighted. So hopefully it's just a couple micro adjustments and we're good to go. From there, we'll probably just do a little bit of fundamental training and stuff like that. But if we've got some time, once we get home, I'll break down the gun and do a little quick cleaning for you for those beginning shooters if you don't know. And as you may have seen in my initial review of the Canik Radian Prime, the disassembly is just slightly different than most handguns. That said, I do have a couple gripes with Radian Prime, specifically the Radian Prime, and we're going to get into those later on. So y'all stick around. It's going to be a fun video. I really appreciate y'all being here with me. Let's head to the range. Alright, y'all, so we are heading back from the range. Goal number 1, sight in the red dot. Check. Goal number 2, work on some fundamentals. Alright, get some lead down range. Double check, got it done. Alright, try to give y'all a couple little different angles there. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about that POV angle. I'm on the fence about it. Not entirely sure how I feel about it. Let me know what you think. Because if you like it, whenever I go down to sling and hit some steel, I'm going to throw y'all up on the POV neck mount, get y'all in there like that. But anyways, so we shot about 130 rounds. That puts us at about 460 rounds thus far. And I'm still liking the gun overall. I still have complaints, all right? And we'll get to that here in a bit. However, today overall, good day. Learn something about myself. No matter what I do, no matter what I change, whether it be stance, grip, give myself some woo-saws, take a break, come back to it, I have the tendency to shoot left, all right? I have added more finger to the trigger. I'm still shooting left. For those that do not know, if you're aiming and you're shooting left consistently, that typically means that you need to add more trigger finger to the trigger, because what is happening is you are inadvertently pushing the firearm. Totally common. Alright? I've added trigger finger. I've added a lot of trigger finger. Still shooting left. About a half inch to an inch-ish to the left, no matter what I do. However, the red dot. The red dot works for you. You don't work for it. If you are consistently shooting left, right, up, down, diagonal, whatever, if it is consistent, no matter what you change, no matter what you do, adjust your red dot to compensate for your lack of shooting skills, i.e. me. And I wouldn't even necessarily say it's lack of shooting skills. My issue, and I think I learned this, is that I am left eye dominant, all right? I knew this, prior to. I've known this for years. And if you didn't know what left eye dominant is, it means your dominant eye is opposite of your dominant hand, okay? So I am right-handed. I can do things with my left hand, but I am primarily right-handed. I throw a ball with my right hand, I write with my right hand, and I wipe my ass with my right hand, all right? And a quick reference on how to figure out which eye is dominant is make a small diamond like so, find something, stare at it, extend your arms out in front of you, and pull your arms straight back. And whichever eye your hands gravitate to is your dominant eye. I've done this several times, trying to make it change, and about 8 out of 10 times my hands go to my left eye. It sucks, all right? And I think what that is doing is it's causing me to like torque the gun, because I'm having to, instead of being straight out in front of you like you normally would if you're right eye dominant right-handed, I'm having to go from here to here to my left eye. And I think it's just throwing me off just a skosh. But I adjusted the red dot like I had mentioned before, and your boy is stacking dimes, alright? I will throw up some pictures right here. Got the red dot zeroed in. Red dot is zeroed in at 10 yards, alright? So did some research, watched some videos, watched a few people that are a lot more knowledgeable than I am, and they say that the deviation between a 10-yard zero and a 25-yard zero with a 9mm is about 0.72 deviation. So If you got a 10-yard zero, but you shoot somebody dead square in the nose, or you're aiming dead square at the nose at 25 yards, you're going to hit them in like the chin or the mouth, right? So about like that much. Well, probably about like that much, really. Whatever. It's about an inch, all right? And I don't care what anybody says, an inch is not a lot. She lied to you. She absolutely lied to you, okay? So, for me, that's not that big of a deal. Like 10-yard zero, and I'm only going to drop about an inch. I'm cool with that. All right, y'all. So we are back here at the house. I've got the fights on right now. Went and stopped and grabbed some dinner with the old lady before she went to work tonight. Um, but I think today's range day was pretty awesome. I think I'm going to go back tomorrow and just get some more time on with this red dot. First time ever shooting pistol with a red dot. If you didn't know, you're supposed to be shooting with both eyes open. And while I feel like I did okay, I could definitely, tell that my eyes were starting to get fatigued at the end, really trying to focus on that dot. But yeah, we're going to hop right into a couple of these gripes that I've got. So, first and foremost, if you've watched my previous video, um, it has gotten some traction, and there's been a couple comments of how Canik has dropped the ball on this release, and I could not agree more. That is a huge gripe for me. Um, I am a big proponent of supporting American-made products. If you didn't know, I believe this one and the MC9 Prime, which is like the Big Brother version of this, pretty much, is manufactured in Florida. So pretty sure it's the first Canik series that has been made and manufactured in the United States. And for them to drop the ball like they have with the Prime Radian it's a little disheartening. They want to sit here and give all these guns away for free to these gun tubers and influencers and celebrities and people that quite frankly probably couldn't care less, and they forget about the folks that are actually keeping the lights on for them. I bought this with my own money. I searched for 3 days. I stumbled across a Reddit post that had mentioned this chain gun shop called Range USA. I highly recommend checking them out online. And the biggest thing for me was making sure that I had the location on right, because the day before I bought this, I was looking, and I think they're based out of Ohio because that's where the default location was at. But I was sitting there looking and looking and looking, and I realized, I was like, man, hang on now. Let me look at locations, and found a shop in Memphis. And I was about to drive to Memphis, I ain't gonna lie, which is about a 4-hour drive. And then I was like, well, hang on, let me see if there's a shop closer. And sure enough, about an hour and a half away, I found the shop that had this. It said low stock. No questions asked. Went ahead, purchased it online, and I was going to call them whenever they opened at 10, but they beat me to it and told me, hey, man, we got your gun pulled to the side for you. Come and pick it up whenever you're ready. Hell yeah. Drove on down there, talked to a guy, filled out, my forms and stuff like that. I was on my way. I got very, very lucky, and I'm very, very fortunate to have this gun. However, I could see the frustration and the disappointment that Canik has brought upon itself with the failure of this launch. All right, so moving right along. Go ahead, show clear here. Now this part is more so for the Radian side of things. Very, very fortunate to have the afterburner and the ramjet, because like I said before, that's about a $400 add-on, and you're getting it for $250 basically. Whenever you break it down, whenever you compare the price of the MC9 Prime and the Prime Radian. Now, this may be nitpicky, but to me it's a big deal, right? So as I've mentioned before, my hands are not that big. They're wide and chunky, like big fucking meaty claws, but they're not long, right? And this backstrap right here, it's the only Radian backstrap that you get, and it is the biggest backstrap. And I have figured that out because again, you get 2 additional backstraps with the Prime Radian. You get a size 1 right there, a size 2, and I assume this takes the place of the size 3, which is cool if you've got big long salad fingers. Now, that being said, can I make this work? Absolutely, I can make this work. Now, how I'm making this work, along with my cross-eye dominance and shifting the red dot over, it has also allowed me to keep my hand in the proper positioning needed to have good, consistent trigger pull, reset, recoil management, yada, 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 right? But if I was not relying on this red dot here, typically you want your gun to be in line with your arm, right? You want it to be neutral, in line for the best recoil management and follow-up shots. Well, as I mentioned before, if you shoot directly to the left, not low left, directly to the left, it typically means that you are pushing your shots with the tip of your finger. Now, I could probably say that almost everybody who has been through any kind of course introductory to shooting handguns or, concealed carry classes and stuff like that, they always tell you to use the pad of your finger. Well, that may work for some if you have great trigger discipline, but typically, a lot of folks, myself included, you're going to have to give a lot more trigger finger to mitigate you from pushing that firearm to the left whenever you shoot. Now, to do that, as you can see, you can make it work, but look how much farther over this is. This backstrap is basically sitting on the back of my knuckle. See how crooked that is? I'm not sure if that's relaying well. So this is to compensate. This is how it's supposed to be. Compensated. How it's supposed to be. Now, like I said, I'm going to make this work because just aesthetically, I love the way this looks. However, if for whatever reason you need to change this out, say you have exceptionally small hands and you just cannot make this work, you can do so by using this little tool that I finally figured out what it is for. There's a little circle right here, a little opening, I should say. You depress this and slide forward, and that is how you remove the mag well. Cool, right? One would think, alright, all you got to do is just take this off, slap on, the right back strap, throw your mag well back on. Well, excuse me, I don't know if you can see this little spring-loaded pin right here. It's like a detent, really. But you take this off and say I want to run the number 1. Cool. Well, now I have to get the shim that is included in the little toolkit, and for comparison's sake, maybe it's better to show this way. You see how much more bigger that backstrap is compared to the number 1. Now this probably feels, well, there's no probably, this feels a tad bit better in my hand. I'm not going to lie. Now where the issue arises is you can no longer use the magwell from Radian. It looks like it wants to fit, but there's no detent to keep this in place, right? Nothing. And now you're at the point where it's like, dang, I got this cool backstrap and magwell that is, for me, the magwell is functional. It helps my hand get, pushed up firmer to get a higher purchase on the firearm. Well, now I can no longer use it if I want to run this backstrap, which, if I'm being honest, feels better in my hand. But as I mentioned before, I love the aesthetics of this and the functionality of the magwell. And quite frankly, I paid for this, so by God, I'm going to use it. Now, to put this back in, all you have to do is just put your backstrap back in, push down this little detent like so, and it slides back on, and you're good to go. Now, does this feel absolutely terrible in my hand? No. But the level 1 and hell, even the level 2 feels just a little bit better than this big chunky boy. That said, I'm going to suck it up and I'm going to run it because I just love it that much. All right, and to wrap up the gripes, I've got one more, and it kind of ties in with what I had mentioned in my previous video of the light strike. Now, when that happened, as I mentioned before, I was shooting ammo from COVID times ammo. I bought it in bulk. Me and my buddy split some. And I hadn't really messed with it until I purchased this. Now, those were 124 grain, which, from what I had read, is typically the sweet spot for Caniks. But we had a light strike nonetheless. It was one and only one out of like 330 rounds that day, and it hadn't happened since. Even today, I was shooting some 115 grain. I finished off that 124 grain, and I shot some of my 124 grain at HST, which is my carry ammo. They all cycled flawlessly. Almost. So in this clip right here, as you can see, the slide returns into battery like it had cycled another round. And I was kind of confused because I was counting my shots. I was like, I thought that was it. And sure enough, click, no boom. I'm like, okay, maybe another light strike. Here we go again. Well, opened up the slide to clear it, and to my surprise, the magazine was empty. And it did not remain in the rear locked position like it's supposed to whenever you have fired your last round. And I'm not entirely sure what that could be caused by. I'm going to have to do some research on that. But it has definitely raised some concerns. This, along with the light strike, how reliable would this gun be? And I wonder if Canik has gotten some feedback from some of these influencers and people that have had their hands on this gun for a minute. And maybe they pulled what they hadn't sent out yet to figure out what is going on internally. But that is all speculation. Maybe it's just the ammo that I'm using. But to have I guess you could say, a malfunction both times that I have gone to shoot this, it does raise an eyebrow. That is for sure. Am I still confident in this firearm? Yes. 2 rounds out of 460 rounds, those are pretty good odds. And shooting the HSTs 124, I don't think that these are going to have any striking issues or cycling issues with those rounds. But you never know, and we won't know until Canik comes out on whether or not there is an issue, a recall, or whatever. And if that's the case, the gun is brand new. I am the one and only owner of it thus far, and it is under warranty. And I'll just send it into warranty and have them fix whatever they need to fix. Does that suck? Absolutely. Should I have to do that with a brand new gun? No, absolutely not, and it is very, very frustrating. I am personally hoping that these are just a couple of hiccups that only I have experienced, and that it is not going to be a continuous issue for this gun. Especially since its counterpart is $250 less and has seemingly run flawlessly since its launch. Now, you may ask, are you happy with the purchase? Overall, absolutely. The trigger alone makes this purchase worth it to me. Not to mention the afterburner and the ramjet barrel. A $400 add-on for half the price is a steal no matter what you say. And if I continue to have cycling issues or light strikes or what have you, then I'll just contact customer support, send it in on warranty, and get a new gun. That's why you always get the warranty and register your warranty. So if you have purchased one of these guns and you have not done so already, go ahead and do that. It is super simple. All you have to do is create an account, register your firearm via the serial number, and you are good to go. So, overall, still happy with the gun. The trigger itself, along with the barrel and the compensator and this red dot, chef's kiss. I'm actually very surprised and pleased with this red dot, along with the aesthetics and everything else that is known to be the Prime Radian. I am very, very happy with it. I will be keeping my eye on this and recording any other additional issues, whether it be cycling issues, light strikes, or any other kind of malfunctions that may occur. Definitely got my eye on it. But that leads to the question, is the Prime Radian worth it? That's subjective. Are you buying it because it's the hottest new gun? Are you buying it because it's your first concealed carry? Or you're a Canik fanboy? Or you're a Radian fanboy? Either way, the decision is completely up to you, and I can not influence you one way or another. I can only tell you my personal experiences and what I have gone through thus far. Now, all that to say this, to have 2 issues out of the 460 rounds that I have shot through this, I say my odds are overall pretty good. Concerning, but overall pretty good. I will continue to run this as my daily concealed carry, and will be practicing heavily on this firearm in the future. Now, to wrap this up, I feel like this video is going to be a little bit longer than what I had intended it to be, so I will have another video on how to disassemble and clean the Canik Radian Prime Radian, whatever you want to call it. Thanks for joining me. This is Taz from Take It Outside. Hope to see you on the next one. Be safe. Thanks for joining me.